Virtual TV. We're just here having fun. Virtual TV.
Doc, what's he doing? Hey, Doc, what do you make of it?
Phil Valentine is a fraud. He's always been a fraud. Phil Valentine is a fraud. He's always been a fraud.
Dominion.
What?
We have only one thing to give up. Our dominion.
Phil Valentine is a fraud. He's always been a fraud.
We don't own the world.
Phil Valentine is a fraud. He's always been a fraud.
We're not kings yet, not gods.
Phil Valentine is a fraud. He's always been a fraud.
Can we give that up? Too precious, all that control. Too tempting being a god.
I've watched Phil Valentine's lectures and watched his slide presentation.
Hey, Doc, what do you make of it?
I've watched Phil Valentine's lectures and watched his slide presentation. Phil Valentine is a fraud. He's always been a fraud.
What is this?
Not finished.
Ethan, take your time, Doc. What are you making here?
True history of mankind. It's a true history. No fiction, no lie.
I've watched Phil Valentine's lectures and watched his slide presentation.
Africa 2 million years ago. Humans, when they moved.
He was talking about health. And this ain't good for you. That ain't good for you. Don't eat this. Don't eat that. So at the end of the lecture, people was like, well, what do we eat? We can't eat shit, Phil. For him to say, all you need is sunlight and water.
Migrated. 10,000 years ago, civilization. You.
This is me?
Yeah, and me too. Us.
Takers.
Phil Valentine is a fraud. He's always been a fraud. I've watched Phil Valentine's lectures and watched his slide presentation, because he'll have a slide presentation. Watch him! He won't have no sources. He'll have typed information of just him talking and giving his opinion, and there's no sources. The nigga is a charlatan. This white man is a charlatan, and he needs to be sat down.
Who are the blue people?
Tribal societies. Hunters, gatherers, planters. They never killed more animals than they could use. They never plowed more land than they needed. And they fought, but they never waged war. Never exterminated. They had a place in the world. And in the world, they were part of it. And they shared it. We changed all that.
Now what? Are we supposed to change it back? What are we supposed to do?
Phil Valentine is a fraud. He's always been a fraud.
Can I live? Look, if I shoot you, I'm famous. If you shoot me, you're brainless.
Now what?
You said it yourself. I'm slick enough to twist your lines and send them back at you. Swift enough to snatch the Mac and pop that at you. Take it personal.
Move.
He should have been sat down years ago. Get him out of here with that garbage. Don't book him. He shouldn't be teaching anywhere.
Move.
Phil Valentine is a fraud. He's always been a fraud.
Man, for he is the devil's pawn. Alone among God's primates, he kills for sport, or lust, or greed.
You gotta pay to be miseducated to get the whole DVD.
Yea, he will murder his brother to possess his brother's land. Let him not breed in great numbers, for he will make a desert of his home and yours. Shun him. Drive him back into his jungle lair, for he is the harbinger of death.
Move where?
Out of my way.
Oh. Are we supposed to unbuild the cities? Wander off into the jungle like you did?
The stupid specious argument. You figure it out.
This family is Lucifer.
Phil Valentine is a fraud. He's always been a fraud.
What is it called?
The DVD is now available. Also, you could also stream it.
Yeah. Phil Valentine is a fraud. He's always been a fraud. You gotta pay to be miseducated to get the whole DVD.
I'm busy.
You're a pain in the neck, Ethan.
I know. Now get out.
Phil Valentine is a fraud. He's always been a fraud. I've listened to Phil Valentine lectures. Let me just say this. 15 years ago, before none of y'all even knew Phil Valentine, I was to go see him when he was in California. Paid $5 to watch him lecture for 5 straight hours. Phil Valentine is a fraud. He's always been a fraud. He was talking about health. And this ain't good for you. That ain't good for you. Don't eat this. Don't eat that. So at the end of the lecture, people was like, well, what do we eat? We can't eat shit, Phil. For him to say, all you need is sunlight and water. Phil Valentine is a fraud. He's always been a fraud.
We're not kings yet, not gods.
Phil Valentine is a fraud. He's always been a fraud.
We don't own the world.
I couldn't take him in serious anymore once he said all we need is sunlight and water. After sitting here paying $5 to watch him lecture for 5 long hours and have no solution at the end. You either pay him to get a consultation or believe, hey, all you need is sunlight and water.
Can we give that up? Too precious, all that control.
Phil Valentine is a fraud. He's always been a fraud.
Too tempting being a god.
He should have been sat down years ago. Get him out of here with that garbage. Don't book him. He shouldn't be teaching anywhere. And these are supposedly conscious woke people believing him.
Ethan, close it.
He won't come out. You see? Even if he can. Not far from here is a fence, and on the other side of that fence is freedom. And he can smell it. He'll never try to get there. He's given up. By now he thinks freedom is something he dreamed.
And you? Have you given up? Because we have a chance to get you out of here now. A good chance. This is all I need. But you told me. It's not just something you dreamed. It's real.
And listening to him like he's just telling some truth. He's a fraud, and I'm out of here.